The ropes dug into William's skin, soaked with blood and sweat. Cold concrete pressed against his cheek as he lay on his side, barely breathing. Across from him, Richard groaned, a rag stuffed in his mouth, eyes wide with panic. Their bodies were bruised, their suits torn. The metallic tang of blood filled the warehouse. A kidnapper's voice crackled over the old speaker, distorted but sharp. "We'll release one, but only one, 40 million, decide now." Nicole stood frozen in the corner, phone in hand. Her makeup was smudged, dress splattered with dust and panic. Her fingers trembled over the transfer app. William's voice was barely audible, wet and broken. "Nicole, I saved that money for our future. Please, pick me." She looked at him. No, through him. Her eyes landed on Richard, who whimpered. William watched the fear in his eyes, the desperation, but also the manipulative gleam he had missed before. The same one that had always been there. Nicole's jaw tightened. "I'm sorry, William," she whispered. "But Richard wouldn't survive this. You're stronger." William choked. "I bled for you." Nicole turned away. "You were just in the way of true love." She tapped her screen. The money was transferred. Moments later, the door opened. The kidnappers dragged Richard out, pretending to comfort him, tossing him into the van like a rescued hero. Nicole reached for him. She never looked back. William tried to lift his head. "Nicole?" His voice cracked, blood dripped from his lips. "Just look at me." But all he saw was her silhouette disappear behind that van door. The kidnapper laughed and raised the blade. "You were always the extra." The blade swung. Darkness swallowed him, but suddenly, light. His lungs filled with sharp, urgent breath. Sweat clung to his skin, but he wasn't bleeding. He wasn't broken. He was in a suit. He was holding a bouquet? Confetti rained from above. Bells echoed in the distance. He stood at the gates of a decorated villa, sunlight spilling across the bricks. Musicians played a gentle melody. Guests whispered and smiled. A man's voice pulled him back. "Noah, William, what's wrong? You're pale." William turned. Santiago, his best man, his friend, alive, unbroken. His chest heaved. His hands were clean. No ropes, no blood, just flowers. "You okay, man?" Santiago asked, frowning. "The Moo family's inside pushing again. They want the final 180K. Said Nicole won't come out unless they get it." William's eyes widened. Wedding day. Nicole. He was back. And this time, he remembered everything. William stood under the wedding arch, the bouquet in his hand starting to tremble, not from nerves, but from something deeper, something colder. The sunlit courtyard shimmered with gold-trimmed drapes, ivory flower petals lining the aisle. Laughter and chatter drifted across the lawn, but all he could hear was Nicole's voice in his memory, laced with indifference. "You were just in the way of true love." His pulse beat against his ears like a war drum. The familiar scent of jasmine surrounded him, Nicole's favorite flower. The same she had once said reminded her of childhood safety. He used to believe that. He used to believe everything she said. "William." Santiago placed a hand on his shoulder. "Hey, I just spoke to Nicole's cousin. It's happening again. They're demanding another $180,000 up front, now, or she's not coming out." William's grip on the bouquet tightened. Santiago sighed. "I'm sorry, man. I told them you already gave 800, but her uncle said the family talked and they feel you're holding back." William stared at the villa doors. In his last life, he would have transferred the money within seconds, just like he had for Nicole's mother's surgery, just like when he'd paid for Richard's mysterious treatment abroad, because Nicole said he was going through a breakdown, just like when he covered her brother's gambling debt without question, because he thought love meant giving, without limit, without voice. "Do you still want to do this?" Santiago asked carefully. William blinked, snapped out of the past by the worry in his friend's voice. He glanced down at his own shoes, polished, perfect. He looked like the groom of a fairy tale. But fairy tales don't end with knives in the dark and your lover watching you die. "I need to speak to Nicole," William said quietly. Santiago hesitated. "She's inside the bridal suite. Her family's blocking the hallway, though. Ugh, they're saying no groom until the transfer is done. I'll handle it." When William stepped into the villa, the noise died. Nicole's aunts and uncles stood with folded arms, expressions tight. Her father looked him over like he was an insufficient investment. "Well, you came to your senses?" her uncle asked. William said nothing. He walked past them. The bridal room door creaked open. Nicole sat at the edge of the bed, veil pushed up, gown spread around her like a throne of white. She was stunning, every inch of her tailored for perfection, but her expression, boredom, mild irritation. "William," she said flatly, "they told you about the 180,000. His breath caught, the voice, it was the same voice that once cried over Richard in front of his dying body. Nicole crossed her legs and stared at him. "We can't get married if you're going to get stingy about a little money. Honestly, it's embarrassing. Just transfer it to my uncle's account." His gaze drifted past her to the mirror, where a suited figure leaned against the wall. Richard. Hair neatly gelled, tie straight, hands in pockets, smirk on his face. "Yeah," Richard said, pushing off the wall. "If you really love her, what's there to think about?" Nicole nodded. "Exactly. It's just money, William. I thought you weren't like other men." In his last life, those words had gutted him. He thought she was testing his love. He thought Richard was just a bystander. He thought being generous was proof of devotion. But now, William saw it all for what it was. Nicole never planned a marriage. She planned a transaction. He took a slow step forward, the memories unraveling like a film reel behind his eyes. Nicole weeping in his arms when her mother collapsed. He paid the full medical bill within the hour. Richard appearing at his office, eyes bloodshot, speaking of trauma and withdrawals. He gave him the rehab fund. Nicole's brother caught laundering money. William paid the silence fee. And yet, at the end, tied up in that warehouse, broken and pleading, it was Richard she chose. "Do you remember what you told me last year?" William asked softly. Nicole blinked. "What?" "At the hospital. You said I was the only man who ever made you feel safe." She raised a brow. "So? Liar?" he whispered. "What's gotten into you?" she snapped, rising. "Look, if this is about the money. You don't love me, Nicole." Her eyes widened for a beat before narrowing into irritation. "Oh, now you're sulking like a child?" "I just want to hear you say it," William said calmly. "You love Richard." Richard laughed. "Come on, man, don't make this weird." William stepped past Nicole, stopping inches from Richard. "Do you remember the night I died?" Richard stiffened. "What the hell are you talking about?" William didn't blink. "You were crying, but you weren't scared. You were excited, because she chose you." Nicole's voice grew sharp. "What's wrong with you? You left me there, Nicole. You turned your back while I begged you. You gave him my money, my future." "Are you sick?" she hissed. "Why are you saying these things on our wedding day?" He turned to face her fully. "Because this isn't a wedding, it's a funeral. For whatever version of me was too blind to see who you are." Nicole's face twisted. "You're insane." "No," he said quietly. "I'm finally awake." She pointed to the door. "Then leave." "I will." "You think I won't find someone better?" she spat. "You think I need you?" He glanced once more at Richard, who stood awkwardly now, unsure of the shift. "You already had someone," William said. "You just needed my money to keep him alive." He walked out of the room as Nicole's voice cracked behind him. "William, don't walk away. You'll regret this." He didn't look back. He walked through the crowd of stunned guests, handed the bouquet to a child standing in awe near the altar, and stepped into the blinding sunlight. The warmth didn't comfort him. It reminded him of the firelight in the warehouse, the last thing he saw before it all went black. Only this time, he was still standing. The cold kiss of wind hit William's face as he stood by the garden wall, cigarette balanced loosely between two fingers. The taste of smoke didn't bother him now. It anchored him, reminded him he was still breathing, still here. Unlike last time, unlike the warehouse, unlike the pain of torn flesh and final gasps. Inside, the wedding music faltered, whispers rose like static. He wasn't in a rush. He was watching Nicole's post scroll across his phone. It hadn't taken long to recover her private account. In his previous life, he never dared. But now, with reborn clarity and the contacts he quietly re-established in the last 24 hours, it took one call to his friend in digital forensics. A secret account. Username filled with poetry and locked diaries. Most of it about Richard. A post 2 days before the wedding, maybe just one night, then I'll bury this love and wear the dress he bought me. One night. He looked at the date. It matched the evening she'd claimed she was staying with her cousin for a spa detox. Another post, 3 weeks ago. William is kind, steady, he'll give me everything, but Richard is the heartbeat. His chest didn't even hurt, not anymore. He flicked the ash, taking in the crisp morning breeze. The villa was behind him, guests waiting, Nicole's parents pacing, Santiago watching silently from the corner. "You sure you're okay?" Santiago asked again, gently. "I've never seen you smoke before." "I never had a reason to before," William muttered. The door slammed. Nicole stormed out in full gown, heels clacking across the stone. Her mother trailing behind, distressed. Her father looked angry enough to burst. Nicole's voice sliced through the calm. "What is wrong with you, William?" He didn't answer, just looked at her. White lace, glowing veil, perfect lips, and behind her, Richard again, hands stuffed in his pockets like he owned the place. "I asked you a question," Nicole snapped, approaching him. "We've got guests out here, and you're acting like some moody teenager." William took a long drag from the cigarette, then let it fall to the ground. "You're hesitating," Nicole hissed. "Over money? Over $180,000? Seriously?" William looked her dead in the eye. "Then don't marry me." The silence was nuclear. Nicole froze. "What did you say?" "I said," William repeated, calm as still water, "if the price of this wedding is a transaction, then we're done. Find someone else to fund your romance." Her mother gasped. Her father barked, "William, think carefully." He turned to Santiago, handed him the ring box, and adjusted his jacket. "I'm not paying another cent for someone who was in bed with another man the night before our wedding." Nicole's entire expression collapsed. "What are you talking about?" she demanded, her voice cracking. "Who told you that? You're making up lies." He didn't even blink. "You posted it yourself. Remember your 'one night for myself' caption?" Nicole stumbled back, visibly shaken. Richard took a step forward. "This isn't the time, man. We're in public." William's gaze shifted to him. "Yes, and in public, let's be clear. You were never sick, you were never weak, you were just a parasite who knew exactly how to moan when she was listening." Richard's smirk disappeared. Nicole turned red. "You can't do this here." "I can," William said. "And I am." He walked toward the gate. Camera phones were already out, whispers had turned into hushed scandal. Nicole's mother reached to stop him, but he sidestepped her like she wasn't there. "William!" Nicole screamed. "Come back here. Don't you walk away from me." He paused at the gate. "Consider this my wedding gift to you both," he said softly, but everyone heard it. "Freedom, and a mirror." He stepped into his car, leaving dust and silence in his wake. Inside the courtyard, chaos bloomed. Nicole collapsed into a chair, shaking. Richard cursed under his breath and disappeared inside. Her father raged at Santiago, but William, he was already gone, and this time, he wasn't coming back. Rain streaked down the tall windows of William's penthouse like cold glass veins. The city below still glowed with wedding banners and floral deliveries meant for the celebration that would never happen. The flowers smelled sickly sweet now, like rotting promises. William sat at his desk, sleeves rolled up, eyes hollow but sharp. Every time he blinked, the warehouse flashed behind his eyelids, ropes cutting into his wrists, Richard's eyes glinting, Nicole's back as she walked away. He picked up the first photo frame, their engagement picture. Nicole's arms looped around his neck, smile wide, eyes soft. His thumb brushed over the glass once, then he hurled it into the bin. Glass exploded. Another photo, Nicole with her mother at a gala, captioned, "Our future." He ripped it straight down the middle. One by one, he fed their images into the trash until only shards and bent smiles remained. He stood, crossed the room to the closet, and began dragging out her boxes, shoes she had never worn, dresses he had imported from Paris, stacks of letters she had written full of soft words he once believed. He opened the window and began dropping them into the chute to the service alley below. Rain soaked the fabric as it vanished into the city's throat. His phone buzzed. His lawyer. "Mr. Grant," the voice said, "we filed the initial motion for dowry retrieval. We'll freeze her uncle's accounts and issue a summons by morning. You're certain about this?" William stared at the rain. "Freeze everything," he said. "No one touches my money again." "And the public statement?" He opened his laptop. drafted in bold at the top of the email. Wedding called off due to betrayal, no further comment at this time. He hit send. Within minutes, the announcement splashed across news feeds and wedding blogs. Comments exploded: shock, gossip, anger, speculation. Nicole's name began trending. Another bureau. His banker, shared accounts frozen, joint cards cancelled, transfer reversals initiated. The penthouse grew quieter, the storm outside louder. He walked to the window, cigarette between his lips. The ember glowed like a single star in the darkness. He inhaled. For the first time, the smoke didn't choke him. It tasted like control. Down at the gate, headlights flared. A white car, Nicole. He watched from above as she stepped out, still in the wedding dress but soaked through, makeup streaking. Behind her, Richard held an umbrella over his head, but not hers, smug even now. Nicole clutched her skirt and stumbled toward the gate, shouting up at the guard, "I'm his fiancée, let me in!" The guard held firm. William had given explicit instructions: no entry, no exceptions. Nicole pulled out her phone, dialing furiously. Seconds later, his phone rang. He let it buzz twice before answering. "William," her voice broke, "please, just talk to me." Silence on his end. "It was only one night," she blurted. "He was dying, I was confused, you can't ruin everything over that." He exhaled, smoke curling from his lips. "He wasn't dying." "What?" "You said the same thing before," William murmured. "You said Richard couldn't handle the pain, you said I was strong, that I'd survive." Her breath hitched. What are you talking about?" "I remember," he said. "Every second, every word, the warehouse, the blade, you walked away." She started crying. "I didn't mean, William, please, you have to understand, I was desperate." He looked down at her from the penthouse window, her form small and soaked. Richard shifted beside her, whispering something into her ear, smirking at the guard. "I don't have to understand," William said. "Not anymore. Please," she sobbed. "We can fix this, just open the gate, let me explain." He flicked the cigarette off the balcony, watching the ember fall. "You can suffer now," he said quietly, and hung up. Below, Nicole's cry echoed against the metal gate. Richard adjusted his umbrella, glancing up toward the penthouse, but William had already turned away. He closed the window, shutting out the storm, shutting out her voice. His heart still raged with betrayal, but underneath it was a strange clarity. The pain wasn't choking him anymore. It was a compass, pointing him away from her, away from everything he used to be. He sat back at his desk, opened a fresh legal file, and began planning. Not just to take back what was his, but to make sure Nicole and Richard would never stand over him again, not in this life, not in any life. The Moo family, though they called themselves the Carter family in this lifetime, showed their true colors fast. As soon as William's lawyers sent the dowry recovery demand, they responded with scoffs, delays, and finally, complete refusal. "This is outrageous," Nicole's mother said publicly. "That money was a wedding gift, he broke the engagement, now he wants to punish us?" Nicole didn't stay silent either. Her social media accounts, reopened, curated, and staged, began to drip with victimhood. A wedding photo shoot she never posted before now emerged, captioned, "I was ready to give him everything, but money changed him." The hashtags rolled in: #broken bride, #true love denied, photos of her wiping away staged tears. A video of Richard holding her hand at a candlelit table. Comments filled with sympathy, disbelief. The story twisted. William became the villain, a greedy man who humiliated his fiancée over a misunderstanding. And for a moment, public sentiment shifted. Until the leak. William didn't plan it, he simply gave access to the right account. The forensic team sent him what they found, he left the rest to timing. It started with a video, Nicole and Richard entering a hotel room, her arms around his neck, lips locked, timestamp, 4 nights before the wedding. Another clip followed, same hotel, same room, morning after, Richard shirtless, Nicole on the bed, laughing as she took a photo of him. Then came the post, a screenshot of Nicole's private account, dug out of the backup servers. "If only William didn't exist, Richard and I would be free." It spread like wildfire, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok edits with somber piano music. News headlines changed from "Groom humiliates bride" to "Expose, bride's secret lover days before wedding." Nicole's team issued a frantic statement. These were private moments, taken out of context. All events occurred prior to the wedding and irresolved in good faith. William read it over breakfast. He smirked. Still didn't stop you from taking my money for his surgery, he said to no one. Public support flipped again, sympathy turned to scorn. Nicole tried to go live and cry her way out, but the comments drowned her. You used him. You played the wrong man. You don't deserve forgiveness. But William wasn't satisfied. He wanted something more permanent. That's when she reached out. The message came through his work email, concise, formal. Subject: I think it's time we talk, Erica M. He remembered her instantly. Erica, law student. They'd met once at a conference 2 years ago. She was quiet, always observing. Nicole hadn't liked her. She stares too much, Nicole once said. Creepy. But William remembered something else. Erica had tried to warn him. I don't think Nicole is who she says she is, she'd told him gently. Be careful. He hadn't listened. Now? He couldn't respond fast enough. They met at a rooftop cafe 2 days later. Erica hadn't changed, still wore earth tones, minimal makeup, hair tied back, quiet intelligence in her gaze. I saw the case, she said, sliding a thick folder across the table, and I've been tracking Nicole for a while. You're not her only target. He opened the folder. Bank transfers, photos, cross-referenced schemes. Nicole and her family had pulled similar stunts before: lavish engagement, sudden dowry disputes, rapid separation with the money gone. She was good at hiding it, Erica said, but not good enough. William leaned back. You're a prosecutor now. She nodded. White-collar division. You've been watching this for years? Her eyes dropped to the coffee between them. After I saw what she did to you, I didn't want to stay quiet anymore. He closed the folder slowly. You warned me, I didn't listen. You weren't ready to, she said softly. Silence passed between them. Then William said, Are you ready to bring them down? Erica didn't smile. She just opened her own laptop and began outlining a plan. Within days, William's legal team, combined with Erica's inside connections, had enough to open a fraud investigation. The Carter family panicked. Nicole tried to play the victim again, claiming emotional damage, hinting at mental health struggles, but the evidence buried her theatrics. And William? He watched calmly, no longer reacting to her breakdowns, no longer stirred by her tears. Because this wasn't just about money. This was about justice, precision, reversal. Everything she took from him, his dignity, his love, his life, was now being recalculated, line by line, frame by frame. And this time, she wouldn't get to walk away. The rain fell in slow sheets, turning the pavement outside Grant Industries into a grim, sympathetic stage. Nicole knelt in front of the towering gates, her bridal heels discarded, her hair soaked and clinging to her face. She didn't care how she looked anymore. Her sobs echoed louder than the thunder overhead, each one crafted for the lenses circling her, the journalist she had tipped off herself. William, she cried out, mascara bleeding into her cheeks. Please, don't do this. He's dying, don't let him die. Next to her, a stretcher rolled slowly into view. Richard lay upon it, clad in a hospital gown, his face pallid, IV line taped across his arm. He looked like death's intern, except William had seen the hospital bills. The man had been discharged weeks ago. The cameras snapped endlessly. A reporter stepped forward. Mr. Grant, you've heard the pleas. Richard is allegedly in late-stage liver failure. Nicole sold her home to help him. With your wealth, can't you spare something for a life? Another voice. You once loved her. Is this really justice? Or cruelty? William stood behind the glass wall of the company lobby, silent, eyes hard. Erica stood beside him, arms crossed, her expression unreadable. Are we ready? She asked. He nodded once. Let's end this. The automatic doors hissed open. The reporters spun. William stepped into the rain. He didn't bring an umbrella. Nicole gasped when she saw him. William, thank God, please. She crawled toward him on scraped knees, her dress soaked and clinging to her like a second skin. William didn't speak. Instead, he reached into his coat pocket, pulled out his phone, tapped once, and held it up. A video began to play. Nicole's voice moaned through the speaker. Reporters went silent. The screen showed a hotel room, Nicole and Richard, tangled sheets, kisses, bare shoulders. Then laughter, Nicole looking into the cam. Era. William let the clip run for 7 seconds, then he lowered the phone. Nicole's mouth opened but no sound came out. Richard sat up on the stretcher like someone shocked back to life. "This is illegal, that's a violation of privacy, I'll sue you." William turned to him slowly. "The videos were saved by you," he said. "I retrieved them from your cloud backup." "Your cloud, Richard, you never deleted them." The crowd exploded. Some reporters covered their mouths, others turned their cameras from Nicole's broken figure to Richard's trembling form. Questions poured in. Nicole fainted right there on the wet pavement. Richard shouted at no one, eyes darting wildly, but no one stepped forward to help him. William stepped back under the building's awning. "That's enough," he said to Erica. She made the call. Within the hour, police arrived. Nicole was arrested on charges of fraud and identity manipulation. Her family tried to post bail, but Erica had already moved to freeze all Carter family assets tied to the case. Richard, he vanished. No goodbyes, no press, no defense, just gone. And for a while, the world grew quiet. William worked, slept, rebuilt. He never spoke Nicole's name again. The press moved on. Erica stayed close, helping him close case after case, not just legal ones, emotional ones. Months passed, until the van, until the ropes, until the same blood-stained warehouse, the scent of mold, the metal table, the sound of boots on concrete. William opened his eyes to darkness. His wrists were bound again. A shadow moved. He didn't need to see her face. He heard the breathing first, shaky, obsessed, familiar. Then she stepped into the flickering light. Nicole. But not the Nicole from months ago. This one was laughing and crying at the same time, soaked in the madness of memory. "Hello, William," she whispered. He stared, unflinching. "You thought it was over?" she said. "You really thought you'd won?" She stepped closer, crouched beside him, trailing her fingers along his cheek. "I remembered everything too, the pain, the regret, watching you die after choosing Richard. I thought, if I could just get one more chance, if we could go back, I could fix it." He didn't answer. She stroked his face with the back of her hand. "But you ruined everything, you exposed me, you walked away, you never even looked back." "You tried to kill me," he said quietly. Nicole laughed. "No, I tried to fix things, but you didn't want that. So now." She pointed toward the shadows. A man stepped out. William's chest tightened. The same kidnapper from before, older now, scar on his cheek, eyes burning with that same hate. "He remembers you too," Nicole whispered. "Isn't fate beautiful?" The kidnapper cracked his knuckles. "We have unfinished business, Grant." Nicole stood back, eyes glowing. "If I can't be reborn the right way, I'll do it again. Maybe this time, you'll come back with love in your eyes." She turned away as the kidnapper raised the knife. William closed his eyes. But this time, he had planned. Nicole's voice echoed as the blade glinted under the warehouse lights. "Kill him, do it exactly like last time." Her tone was soft, almost loving, like she was guiding a bedtime story instead of ordering a murder. Maybe this time, the reset will land right. William didn't flinch. The kidnapper stepped forward, knife raised, but before steel could flash, sirens howled outside, floodlights blinded the darkness, shouts broke the tension. "Police, drop your weapon!" Doors burst open, dozens of boots thundered in, red and blue strobes filled the space. The kidnapper spun, panicked, but a baton cracked into his jaw before he could blink. Nicole screamed. No, this wasn't supposed to happen, you weren't supposed to know." William's ropes were cut. Erica was the first to reach him, her breath sharp, her expression calm. "I told you we'd be ready." Nicole thrashed in handcuffs, her voice shrill and cracking. "You can't do this, he's mine, we were meant to start over." William stood, cold, steady. She tried lunging toward him but was yanked back by 2 officers. "Don't you get it? I remembered everything. After I died, after you died, I came back too." Her voice shook now, unraveling in pieces. "I married someone else. He hit me, used me, and Richard, he never loved me. He tried to sell my jewelry. He tried to take everything. He died in our home. I buried him beneath the tiles, and the man I married after, he found out. He wanted to kill me, so I killed him first." A hush swept the room. Nicole began laughing, her wrists bloody from resisting the cuffs. "It's fate, William, it's fate. We're bound to each other. Let me try again, just once, just one more reset." William didn't speak. "Please," she whispered, now soft, desperate, lips trembling. "I remembered everything. I was wrong. You loved me the right way. Let me love you the right way now." "You're not capable of love," he said. "But you loved me once," she said. "I did," he said quietly. "And you killed it." She looked up at him, eyes widening as if the word stabbed deeper than any knife ever had. He turned his back. Nicole shrieked as she was dragged out. "I'll come back. I swear it. I'll find a way. You can't end this." But it was already over. The trial lasted months. Evidence surfaced, Richard's remains found beneath her old townhouse, her husband's car tampered with. Transaction trails. A diary entry. "If I can't love him in this life, I'll kill him in this one and wait for the next." Nicole was convicted, attempted murder, 2 counts of homicide. Mental instability wasn't enough to save her. On the last day, she requested to see William. He agreed. The prison visitation room was sterile, silent. Nicole sat behind the glass, shackled, thinner than before. Her eyes still searched his face like it held the answers to all her delusions. "You loved me once," she whispered. "Can't you love me again?" William looked her straight in the eye. "Someone like me," he said, "can only love once." She opened her mouth, but he cut her off. "And you lost your chance, you killed it." Her face crumbled, the guard stepped in. He stood and walked out. Outside, the air was clean, not just from wind, but from weight. Sunlight broke through the clouds above the prison gates, casting long bars of golden light across the pavement. He tilted his head up, breathed in deep. His car was waiting. In the back seat, pear soup in a thermos. His mother smiled as she handed it to him. "You need to eat." He nodded. "Thanks, Mom." She touched his shoulder gently. "It's done now. Finally." He nodded again. The driver's side opened. Erica slipped behind the wheel. She didn't speak, didn't ask questions, just waited, quiet, reliable. He sat beside her, no flashbacks, no pity, only forward, only peace, only closure.